Hello, American Patriots. Douglas Ducote here. Do you believe in UFOs? Aliens coming from another planet to visit us? That's what this video is about. But before I get into this video, at 5 Central today, there will be a video posted that every American needs to watch. It is about reparations. It is something that is being brought to the attention of the American people via every Democrat that is running for president and members of Congress. The video will be posted today at 5 Central. Now, let's talk about unidentified flying objects. If you haven't seen it yet or heard about it yet, finally, all of the major news networks are covering it. Released information from our United States military pilots encountering things while flying that they can't identify. It's become so often that now, this past few days, members of the Congressional Intelligence Committees have been briefed by the Pentagon and the Navy and the Air Force about these sightings. Even the President of the United States had to sit down and get a briefing on what they know so far. Now, the last thing I want to do is sound like a conspiracy theorist. So let me get it out first, how I personally feel about UFOs. As someone who has spent most of my life flying through the skies of this planet, both in civilian side of the house and military side of the house, I have seen things that I cannot explain. I have taken photographs of things that I cannot explain. Do I believe that this is evidence that there are little green men on board these objects? Not necessarily. Do I believe that with this universe that is so huge and so large, and we're finding out more and more information about other universes outside of ours, and possibly thousands or millions of other planets, that we should be the only one that has life? I believe the possibilities are endless of what's out there in space. I've never seen, that I know of, anyone from another planet. But I've seen objects flying as an aviator that not only could I not explain what they were, but the crew members with me could not explain what they were. And in general, we don't talk about it. Why? Because we don't want to be sent to the military psychiatrist because someone thinks we're going crazy. So you just go about your day-to-day business and serve your country. But what we have happening right now is, especially with naval aviators, they are seeing things in the skies and they are recording it with their aircraft video. It's recorded in the flare system videos of what they're seeing. And they can't explain it. Neither can the Pentagon. Neither can NASA. They're seeing things, objects that are there. okay? They see it with their own eyes, and they have the video proof of it. Objects doing things that are above and beyond the technology that the United States has, and to our knowledge, no other country could come even close to this, because we are the dominant force in our military and our aviation and what we're capable of doing. After all, we're the only country that has ever put men on the moon several times and done it safely. So it's being released. The information is now coming out. So much information and so many videos and so many military pilots seeing things, performing way better than their aircraft, that it's reached all the news media. Fox News has been covering it. MSNBC has been covering it. And finally, even CNN started covering it yesterday. What are they looking at? What are they seeing? What are these pilots encountering? What we do know is there's no evidence that there are little green men flying them, but we don't know what they are, which is why UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Object. It is an object, it is flying, and we can't identify it. But it is happening more and more. It used to be that you only heard about these things from people on the ground, civilians. And in most cases, these can be written off and explained as something that, hey, this is what you actually saw. Or it was an aircraft, it was a balloon, it was, many different things. A reflection off the sun, off of a balloon or an aircraft. Many, many, many UFO sightings can be explained as to what they are. In this case with the military, there's no explanation. Our pilots are seeing aircraft, if we want to call it that, with no wings, no exhaust, being able to move at basically way faster than anything man has ever built. We have jet fighters that can fly at Mach 3 times the speed of sound. These things are flying at like what we see on Star Trek, warp speed. They can just go and they're gone. They're making stops and turns that are so drastic that any human being would just be ripped apart. There's no way for our bodies to withstand the G-forces for what we're seeing in video. And now they've allowed these pilots to come out and start talking about it. Now, none of them, like me, are saying they're, from Mars, little green men. What they're saying is something's out there, and it is very drastic that we find out what it is, because if it's another country that has come up with a technology that is in leaps and bounds more than anything we've ever could even think of, Hollywood movie type stuff, we need to know that. And if it is coming from another universe or another planet, we need to know that too. Do you believe? What do you believe? Do you believe that anyone that says flying saucers, they must be out of their mind? Or do you believe that it's possible? I will say that I believe it's possible. Only because I'm the type person that if you tell me something, you need to prove it to me. If I see something, I need to know what I'm seeing. In this case, it will drive you crazy trying to figure it out. Your mind will go into other dimensions that you don't want it to go because there's no explanation. I think back to my times in the military, especially down in Central and South America, where we would see things, we would see objects that were flying that we had no clue. And before you could get the chance to get it on film, it would be gone. I don't know what I saw. And as I said earlier, we just let it like water on a duck's back. We don't talk about it because it happened, it was there, it's gone, we're safe, let's move on. What I do know that is a fact, something crashed in Roswell, New Mexico back in the 40s. The original press release was that it was a flying saucer with aliens aboard. Within 24 hours, the military had captured whatever this was and then told the public it was actually a weather balloon. Many of you have probably heard this story before. After the Roswell incident, strangely, our military started experimenting with and building with round disc-shaped flying objects. You can just Google it if you want. You can see videos of them on YouTube. Our United States military, working with partners in Canada, built round-shaped objects and flew them. You can see the pictures, you can see the videos. I've seen one of the devices actually in person when I was stationed in Fort Eustis, Virginia. It's in the museum there. And I've seen the videos of it actually flying with one of our test pilots in it. Then came the stealth program. An aircraft that when people would see them flying, they didn't know what they were because they didn't look like anything that they had ever known to be an aircraft, a plane, a jet, a rocket. For years, they kept these programs top secret and classified. The B-1 bomber, the stealth fighter, the SR-71, the U-2. They flew for several years and people saw them and were reporting them as UFOs. Turned out it was our military. Now, are there things out there that our military now are flying that we don't know about? And even these pilots for the military that have come forward are now talking about it. They don't know about it because it's top secret projects like the other ones I just mentioned. That's possible. But all we know right now is there is something out there that is performing in a manner that defies everything we know about aerodynamics. And our Pentagon is allowing these pilots to tell their story. And they're sharing the actual videos that the pilots took with the onboard infrared system, the flare system that's in the aircraft. So, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I do know that it is possible, in my personal opinion, that we're not alone in this universe. And if it turns out that there are other beings of some sort, it would definitely change everything we've ever been taught and learned, even Bible type things, religious type things. Slowly but surely, this information is being let out. Are they letting it out slowly to set us up and warn us of something to come in the future? Don't know. Not going to sit here and tell you that's what's going on. What I do know is that as an aviator, it's kind of concerning that something is in the air with civilian aircraft and military aircraft that we can't explain. And we've heard hundreds of reports from civilian aviators that are talking about it, and people say they're crazy or they're just making it up. Jetliners, passengers on board jets, even astronauts in space have talked about things and seen things that they don't know what they are. But when the Pentagon goes and briefs the Intelligence Committee, members of Congress, and the President this past week on these objects, I think it's time that we, the people, at least have an open mind and pay attention to what's going on around us. That's all I have for this. Again, I will remind you that a very, very important video will be coming up shortly today at 5 Central. Something that affects the 2020 election, and it affects our president and each of you. So stay tuned for that video. If you haven't already done so, please go over to www.douglasducote.com. That is my website, and sign up. Give us your email address so we can send you updated information about what's happening across the country and the plans that we have moving forward to 2020 and beyond. Hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. Please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, first responders, their families, our Blue and Gold Star families, our president, and our country. For now, I'm Douglas Ducote, and I'm out.